This is the TTArtisan 75mm f1.5 swirly bokeh lens. It's an all-manual focus lens, no electronics. It's not weather sealed, but it's built like an absolute tank. It's not going to replace a modern, fast autofocus lens, but if you're looking for a lens that has some major character, something to add to the Artisan kit, this lens is going to get the job done. Now let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the way, and that is that it's rumored that this lens is a recreation of the Carl Zeiss Biotar that started back in the 30s and had several versions. Version 3 looking pretty much like this lens right here. In fact, they have the same 6 elements in 4 groups. There's a lot to love about this lens. A few things I didn't really care for. Starting with the weight. I said it's built like a tank, and it is. This thing comes in at nearly 600 grams. It's not too heavy, but it does have some weight, so if you're carrying it around all day, it's going to be a bit much. And secondly, I don't know if it's just my copy, but the aperture ring is pretty stiff. Now, speaking of the aperture, it does have 13 rounded blades, which is going to help keep those bokeh balls nice and round as you start to stop down. I just wish this was not quite as stiff. You can barely feel the clicks on my version, so it's almost like a clickless. I can feel them, but it's very weak. It is a 1.5 through f16. However, we only get half stops from 1.5 to 5.6. From 5.6 to 16, it's full stops. The looks, it's hit or miss for me on this camera. It doesn't look too bad. The fact that you have to add the adapter, I think robs from the looks of the lens. However, if you pair it up with an M42 camera, which is the mount of the lens, it looks fantastic. Now, if the alignment is off on your lens and your scale is off, it's very easy to adjust. A T5 Torx bit, you got 3 screws here, here, and here. Loosen them up just a tiny bit, rotate it into position, tighten them up, and you're good to go. A good thing about the M42 mount is you can pretty much get an adapter and put it on any modern camera to date. So if you got a Sony, Canon, doesn't matter. Now our minimum focusing distance is 0.75 meters. It has a 58mm filter thread on it. The focus ring is very smooth on this camera. However, it has a super long throw. So we're talking probably around 270 degrees. I mean, there's a lot of throw. Now that's going to come with both negatives and positives. A positive being it's going to really assist you in nailing critical focus. However, if you have a moving subject and you've got to travel a long distance, you're probably going to miss the shot. Now, I didn't try any video out on this. I'll probably do something like that in the future. I think as long as you have a static shot, it's going to do great. It's going to look awesome. The bokeh on this thing is just crazy. I kept trying to get the swirly bokeh. Every shot's not going to bring it. Some shots have a very clean, just smooth bokeh, but if you have the right specular highlights in the background, especially if you get to the right distance, man, it is swirl like crazy. I'm going to be honest to say I was actually surprised of the sharpness of the lens, because a lot of the videos that I had seen when this lens was first released was talking about how soft it is, wide open. I think I was able to get some fairly sharp images. They're not going to be like a modern, that crazy sharpness that we can get nowadays. I think it's just a matter of that razor thin depth of field, getting the focus right, and if you nail it, it's not all that bad. Now we're talking decent center sharpness, but it is going to lose that as it's going out to the edges. Now you remember, as we get around to that circular bokeh, that's It's just going to get soft as you get to the edges, so just know that. But as far as sharpness, I was totally satisfied with how sharp this lens is. Same goes with contrast. I felt the lens had a great contrast. I think they've got a good coating on the lens because the flaring, although it's there, a little bit of flaring, a little bit of ghosting in the right conditions. Of course, we've got chromatic aberration. We're going to have that with a lens like this. I was pleasantly surprised of the overall ability of the lens to really curb down the flares and the ghosting. Let's jump into Lightroom real quick. I want to show you a couple of the images in detail and show you that the lens is sharp enough. I was down in South Beach, Florida. I went down there to check out Alcrown headquarters, and Gaston and I went out and shot for the day. We saw this beautiful model right here. He asked her if we could take a couple shots. I was lucky enough to grab these images of her. She had just finished a modeling job. Indra was there as well, and I took some pictures of her. Her eyes are razor sharp. And this is 100% my favorite photo of the day. I just wanted to put it up again and say thank you so much. I appreciate it. We were down in the Bahamas and having lunch, and my son likes to be a goofball. And I thought this image was just another good image to show the sharpness of the lens and the character of the lens. If you zoom into the glasses, even though he's got fingerprints all over them, you can see me taking the picture of him. You can see his hairs and everything. Pretty sharp overall. And he's off center again. I just want to show this bokeh. I think the character of this lens just rocks. In this image right here, I did not nail focus, but I still wanted to just show the bokeh in the foreground and the background just to do a little comparison. Now this image right here, this one I thought showed a good example of the sharpness. You can see the texture in the shirt and her braids. And she's not even in the center of the image, so I think if I would have centered her up, she'd have been even sharper. Her eyes are nice and sharp as well. So not razor sharp, but the lens is sharp enough. So who is this lens for? This lens is for someone that wants to have a little fun, bring something new into the mix, get away from that clinical sharpness that you've got with the modern lenses. Somebody that wants to take just ordinary objects, it could be a Coke can, it doesn't matter. This thing at the right distance with the right background is just going to make it look like a piece of art. So I think for less than $300 US, a lens that can make anything look like artwork, it's well worth it. And let me clarify, when I talk about it being sharp, I mean sharp wide open. If you start to stop down, say to 2.8, this thing gets really sharp, and f4, f5.6 and up, it looks like a modern lens. In my opinion, if you're going to use a lens like this, it's for that swirly bokeh. You want to be wide open and or close to, maybe f2. I will leave links to the lens and mounts in the description. Now I did mention earlier that I went down to Alcrown headquarters. If you do not know who Alcrown is, they design and manufacture camera accessories right out of Miami, Florida. Accessories like this beautiful camera strap right here. And not just the camera straps, they've got all types of accessories like shutter toppers. This is the hot grip, allows you to use the thumb grip and the flash at the same time. Designed and manufactured in Miami, Florida. If you want to check them out, I'll leave my discount code CameraFusion10 in the description. So check them out. Did you like the video? If so, make sure you leave it a like. I appreciate it. Subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. My name's Tony. This is Camera Fusion. I'll see you in the next one.